All right, so we are live, people. This is our call-in show. I'm gonna actually share the link so you guys can call in. Invite. There we go. Let me post this link. I need to know what you think about Royce Reed and Dwight Howard's kid touching other kids, him being a victim himself. Is the boyfriend versus boyfriend, is he to blame? Is Dwight to blame? Is Royce to blame? What would you do in this situation? Because we're gonna have our criticisms, but let's try to give us some help. What do you think she should do? So let me actually pin this while we at it. And somebody's already up. What's going on, Ellen? How you doing?
Oh. Hey, how are you? Do you hear me?
I can hear you. You got to turn me off in the background, though.
Okay, I just did that. So yeah, I appreciate you doing the, letting us kind of call in on this. So I'm actually a trained clinical psychologist. And so this whole situation, I'm really going to put the blame on both parents with this. And I say this because it just seems like this boy, if you think about his cry for help about 2 years ago, when he did that video where he was talking about how he hated his father, this kid, I think, has experienced some emotional abuse. It just seems like he was being neglected already before we all now know what's been going on with maybe the sexual abuse that he may have experienced, and then also what he inflicted on other children. And so what I'm thinking about it, again, don't know his case, obviously, in terms of just the details, because there's more details to it than what we would know in the court records as to his own history of abuse and what he's experienced. But I actually think that there could be also some significant trauma connected to whatever sexual abuse that he may have experienced. That part of it, when he was talking about, oh, well, when I get angry, then this is what I'm doing, and having this other kid do in order to, I guess, basically maybe, I don't know if it's his way of trying to release that anger, but it just seems like it's a learned behavior. And I wonder if when he was previously abused years prior, if this was something that whoever did whatever they did to him, if that was what happened. Because I don't think people understand, but when you've been abused, particularly as a child, your emotional growth absolutely is stunted in some way, particularly your ability to regulate your emotions. And so the fact that at least he can identify, well, when I'm getting angry, that's what's triggering me kind of to do this. So he seems to understand that. But I think what he's not quite getting is that, he seems to know what he did is wrong, because he was honest, at least when they asked him, when the police kind of asked him, okay, so, what did you do? And so he did divulge that. So I'm not getting that he's being savvy in terms of trying to be a predator and lying and being deceptive about it. I really think that this is a learned behavior that if he goes through some kind of intensive behavior modification, like maybe a residential facility with other sex offenders, but also getting trauma treatment on top of it, that I think he actually could be rehabilitated. But I think what's really sad about this is that this is all public now, so people know. So that's stigmatizing. If you think about that too, there's a huge stigma connected to when you have not only do we now know this kid himself was abused, but then also he has abused 2 other children as well. So it's almost like there's going to be this rush to view this child as he's a predator. He needs to be locked up, not understanding, well, no. This is way more complicated than that, particularly because he also was a victim of sexual abuse himself. And also, unfortunately, it seems that he has neglectful parents, unfortunately.
He does. Now, let me read this to you, Ellen. Burgundy commented and said, did the father do this? Talking about back in 2014, the son was going to tell, and then instead he got beat with the belt.
When you say, did the father do this and he was going to tell, do you mean that if it was a father who perpetrated this on him and was the abuser? See, I have who knows? I mean, I think the child would have to divulge whoever abused him, right? So I don't know if he's even, because it just sounds like, just from the court records, the only treatment he may have just been this treatment specific to his sexual deviant behavior, and not necessarily trauma treatment due to whatever abuse he may have experienced. And so if his mother and of course the father, it seems like they didn't actually make sure, hey, let's get him treatment for whatever he reported to us that he's dealt with, then who knows, whoever did whatever they did to him. It could have been someone, in his school. It could really have been, because unfortunately, when someone's been abused, it is more likely to be someone who is closer to you than a stranger. It is very
Yeah.
rare to be a stranger who is abusing someone. It's typically someone you know. So, because that's who you're going to allow to have access to your children. But I think in his case, I think that's even more complicated because we know we saw Royce on Basketball Wives. She wasn't, you never really, not to knock her or anything, but if you're not present with your child, and her child was very young when she started on that show, and she was kind of running around doing whatever, and then you had Dwight with his whole career, he was doing whatever, and then they had such a acrimonious relationship that it's really clear they weren't effectively even co-parenting from the very beginning. So who was really monitoring that child to make sure that he was being really, first and foremost being taken care of, and also someone was making sure he was safe.
Good point. Good point and good observation, because it's clear he's been neglected. And even when she said I couldn't watch him, I have a big house, and I'm just like, wow.
We got cameras. The thing is, her excuses to me, I will say this. I think she does love her son because she at least made sure she had him in treatment. But I think part of the problem I have with what she said is that she was doing TikToks. I saw the clip, you see the clips of her doing TikToks and stuff in her home. It just seems like she's a bit self-involved to an extent. And I also think that, that's just not a good enough reason, because and I don't know if it's just maybe the ignorance and not understanding how serious something like this is when a child is engaging in very what is considered sexually deviant behavior, that this isn't like a one-time thing. It could be for someone, but it also could be, that this could be a pattern that this child could continue to engage in if he's not being properly monitored and he's not getting the appropriate level of treatment. So unfortunately with her son, it clearly was that he was not being properly monitored, and he probably needs a higher level of treatment. Instead of it being outpatient, he might need residential treatment, where it's not just the focus being on maybe just a sexual deviant behavior, but no, he might also need intensive trauma therapy as well for anything he may have went through, with his own abuse. So.
Even like when I worked with kids, I had teenagers on my caseload who were deviant. Like one kid, he touched his sister's breasts, and so he went to a group home for those kind of kids, and he went through all kinds of therapy. And when I say they get deep, they get deep to where the kid has to describe their dreams, their masturbation practices and habits. What did they think about when a lot of help? Thank you, Ellen. You have a good night. All right.
All right. You too. You take care.
Bye-bye. All right. Sexy Redhead Witch said Royce's father even said on one of the episodes that she worries about a man being in her life too much. You got some women that are like that. They are so desperate to have a man. It's just ridiculous. What's going on, Rhonda Love's Life?
Hey, Storm, how you doing? This is a great topic.
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunate, but yes.
It's unfortunate, but it's a great topic, and it's important to highlight this because let me tell you, when I divorced, my kids were still in middle school. Okay. I'm going to tell you, because of what I seen when I was growing up, and I shared with you some of my trauma background, I did not date any man. And I watched my children until they got into high school where they were old enough to speak for themselves if something happened. I was just so paranoid that I would not bring any man other than my family, my immediate family, my children's, like my siblings, and maybe my first cousin that I'm close with and their father. But I think Royce, what she did was, you have to really watch the kids that are around, because Royce exposed her boyfriend's son to her son. And
wait a minute. They're saying the sound is off and on. The sound should be good. Hold up. You sound good to me, Rhonda. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Hold up. Let me see. Make sure they're not trolling. Rhonda, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hold up. Y'all gonna have to go out and come back in. We can hear just fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Royce. See, the thing that bothers me is that, and I see this with women, is that you got to really watch your kids, because you got men out there who are predators, and they know single mothers are lonely and vulnerable. Also, you got to watch the kids that are around your children, because you just mentioned about when you were a kid. I remember when I was little in the neighborhood, there was this neighborhood kid, and I could tell you with my kids, if I spot a kid that was acting strange, I was very careful about who was surrounding my kids.
Yeah.
And you got to watch little kids groom you. And I'm telling you, Storm, these kids are the little kids that they're around can be grooming for the adults. They send them out because they teach them. And then they do these sleepovers. You know what I mean?
My mama didn't play that.
I didn't play that either.
The only sleepovers I did was with my very, very best friend, but I mean, our parents went to high school together, so that was a little different. They really, really trusted them, and then I had other best friends, but my mama didn't play that.
Because these kids are acting out because they've been exposed, and I think with Royce, her son, he's 14 now, right?
I think either 13 or 14, one of them.
Okay. She's got a problem because he's hit puberty, and this is, at that age, those hormones are crazy. This is what he likes. He needs therapy. And for Royce to put her son, who's a predator, around other kids, she deserves to be locked up. I'm sorry. She deserves to be locked up. Because what about the poor victims?
Right.
What if that was your child? Can you imagine how you would feel, Storm, if that was your son being exposed like that way before their time? It's such an unnatural. So I'd
be pissed. I'd be more pissed that everybody knew about it and was okay with leaving him around my kid.
And see, that's the thing. Where did that boy get it from? Did he get it from his father? Did he get that from one of Royce's other boyfriends? Because I'm going to tell you, because of what I saw in my childhood, I'm telling you, I had swore, and me and my ex-husband, we were not going to have our kids go through that. I did not bring a man around my children, and I did not date until they were in high school. I'm glad.
You can't get these people to do that, though. And a lot of it, I'm going to keep it real, Rhonda, a lot of it be when women are single mothers, they like, I need help paying the bills. So that really be why they be quick to move a man in. But you really, once your man, you really do need to be waiting until your kids are old enough to where they can speak for themselves, or they out. You
That's
just
right.
do.
Or better yet, we talked about this, Storm, before, and just for females who are not there yet, just wait until you marry, and you know what I mean, and just have a family, someone's committed, because to try to bring another man in and you don't know what his background is, what his kids are exposed to, you don't know if someone's turning out his kids behind his back.
Yeah, because the dude could be cool, your boyfriend could be cool, but he could have a predator child. You're absolutely right.
It is, and it destroys. And you know what, Storm? I'm gonna say this one thing and I'll get off. You said that could play a part in a lot of these men who are hypersexual and who are cannot get close. They don't have the ability to have a close relationship with women because they have been so violated and destroyed mentally as a child, sexually. It's hard for them to really have a really good, close connection to a woman. They can't do it. And I spot that. I'm telling you, you're right on the money there. There are men out there who would rather have multiple women, so they do not open themselves up to intimacy in a real way because they can't, because their early forms of intimacy came from perverted sexual, interactions. Yeah. They did not get that. There's something beautiful about connecting with someone and loving someone. But if you have been exploited as a child sexually in the most nasty way, it's hard for you to do that. And it breaks my heart. But Royce, I think she deserves it because she exposed other kids to her son. That's outrageous, Storm. That's outrageous.
She knew better, and she dropped the ball on that. Thank you, Rhonda. You have a good night, okay?
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. I like how Jana, give me 1 second, laughs, gags, and gossip. I love how Jana said family members can't always be trusted too. I know way too many people molested by family members. That is very, 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 very true. I thank God I didn't have to deal with that. Well, my grandmama didn't play that shit. She'd have killed your ass about me. She did not play that. So my mom, Laugh Gas and Gossip said my mom was a pediatric nurse practitioner. She shared so many stories. I didn't have men over my daughter, didn't trust none of them. You can never tell who will. Let me tell you something. When I work with kids, it was so many kids in the hospital that we had to take to the hospital that had STDs. And you're like, where'd they get these STDs from? Like, why does this 8-year-old have chlamydia? It's grandpa, it's dad, it's brother, it's cousin, and in a Native American community, oh, it's horrible. What's going on, G Heights? Oh, you got to unmute.
Hi, Storm.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. Oh my goodness, I love you so much, Storm. All the love from South Africa. Goodness.
Oh wow, it's late. It's late over there, isn't it?
No, it's like at 6 in the morning, almost 7 in the morning.
Nice.
I was like, I need to stay up.
I'm not coming to South Africa. I'm not coming to South Africa, but I'll be going to you. I'm putting it in the atmosphere, Uganda this year. So.
Oh wow, it's a beautiful country. What is that? East Africa. So when you do come to South Africa, you're very much welcome, especially Cape Town.
Thank you. What's on your mind?
No worries. So basically, I wanted to speak on, I don't know, honestly, I can see both sides. I feel as though this happening actually opens up a very good, or it opens up a good conversation so we can actually speak about such things happening in this world. Like, it's not the first time we've heard of these things, and we know family members that have done the same thing. But the fact that she's well, she's famous now, or she is famous, basically I wouldn't say get confused, but I feel as though there's so many things that's happening in the world, and having these famous people do such things, it exposes so many things. But in terms of the child, I feel like it started at a very young age, because these behaviors are sometimes learned, but at the same time they are seen. And I heard in the comments that she had a lot of men coming in and out of the household, which is also not an excuse, but at the same time, it's like, why aren't you watching your child? Like, why, if you're having, in the meantime, why are you having men over when your child is at that age? Like, why are you doing that? And at the same time, it's like
some women and men too, they can't be alone. My thing is, if you need some D, do that when your kids sleep, and you need to be out my house by 5 in the morning for my kids wake up. Like, I'm not fooling with all this. This is my new boyfriend, girlfriend, no, I'm good.
Exactly. Like, I think we need to go back old school, where it's like the man that you're bringing in, or if you're allowing these kids to meet these people, is the man you're going to marry. Not necessarily marry, but at the same time, a long-term relationship. Because I feel like we've lost so many morals as well as values, where it's like at any point you just bring anyone. So you literally can't blame anyone for this child's behavior. But at the same time, like I said, it's I've worked with kids. I've been an au pair. I've done all of those things. I've been in orphanages. So I kind of more or less see where they'll basically tell you, oh, it's so and so who showed me this, or it's so and so I seen this. So I do think it is a learned behavior, but at the same time, I feel like there's a lack of respect as well, because she brought this onto herself, and knowing that the father is also someone that's not in the child's life, which is I mean, at this point, we all know these are things that happen in most Black households. Like, we're not indifferent to these behaviors, but at the same time, it's like, why do you allow such things to happen? Why don't you take this man to court? Or why don't you set boundaries with these people? Because at the end of the day, I do believe that this child learned these behaviors, but at the same time, I do believe that, or I'm grateful, sorry to say, that they actually caught this now and they've exposed it, because it opens up conversations like this with everyone else, not necessarily or I do believe we've hidden so many things as Black people that such things, when it does happen, it opens up conversation. At the same time, it allows us to talk about it and be honest, because I mean, this is not the first time we've heard of such things, and it's probably not going to be the last. So yeah.
Nah, you're right, and it's just it's just so unfortunate. And I hate to say this too. If I was Royce, I'd just be embarrassed.
But that's the thing. I don't feel like these people are embarrassed until they're actually exposed. So I do believe that them being exposed is a good thing, because I mean, then we can have conversations like this. And at the same time, it's like, why are you allowing these things? Like, where is this girl's parents? Like, let's start from there. Like, where is her family members? Like, what's up? Like, why do you allow such things to happen? At the same time, I've heard, or I saw in the comments, that it's not the first time, or apparently he had touched a girl, or there was a comment made. Like, how did it get to that extent? Like, why are you not sitting with your child? At the end of the day, we need to have these conversations and be open, not necessarily with family members, with kids as well. What happened to that whole thing of sitting down for dinner and having that conversation? Like, how was your day been? What's on your mind?
They don't do that.
And it's and I mean, I know most of us are working hard and everything, and we want good lives for our kids. But at the same time, I feel as though we've lost so many things. And I'm going to put it on a bit on social media as well, because everyone wants to live this fancy life where we're all perfect, but we're not. We have so many things that run through, not necessarily, like, let's say it starts now. What's going to happen when he grows older? Like, what's going to happen? And he has kids of his own. Like, who basically, it's good that they caught him. And I do believe that there is an underlying narcissism in him or the child, because this is how it starts. Firstly, it's denial. Secondly, it's basically kids making up stories, because even in the comments, people were saying, well, this child might have been touched. Not necessarily. I do believe that there so many things that these kids are exposed to nowadays. Like, I'm 26 years old. I've seen things, but at the same time, it's like, where is this child's mother? Like, why is she allowing these things? And the father, oh my goodness, I cannot even. It's sad.
That itself is a whole nother story. And I'm gonna say, G Heist, thank you for coming on. Okay.
No worries. Thank you, Storm. Bye.
Bye. Laugh, Gas, and Gospel said, it's not just a Black thing. There are cultures where fathers have their daughters for. Oh God, this is some sick ass shit. I wanted to show you guys something, because I saw somebody comment about Royce letting her boyfriend sleep in the bed with her son, and I remember. Wait a minute. Okay, here. All right, this is a throwback. Who remembers this drama, right? This is a throwback, right? So I covered Braylon's face because he was a lot younger when this photo was taken. But that's Braylon, Royce's son, in the bed with her boyfriend at the time. Right? Sleep together in the bed. Now, I remember, because Dwight had an issue with this, and I would have had an issue with this too. Saint Hudson apothecary. I've been drinking. I'm sorry. Some of y'all give Royce too much credit. The court made her sign him up for treatment. Look at her Twitter. She's only worried about getting on TikTok, not his mental health. Ooh. I remember this, and I'm glad somebody brought it up. See, the internet don't forget. The internet does not forget. That is highly inappropriate. And upon further investigation, you see Braylon there, that nigga sleep. They sleep in the bed together like they father and son. That ain't this motherfucking son. That ain't the son. This was years ago. But now that somebody brought it up, what is this man doing in her son's room? I think the son was sleeping in the mom's bed. And the boyfriend was over, and they just all slept in the bed together. But that's not that boy's daddy. I'm just saying, the only person they said Royce said she finna go live on Instagram in 10 minutes. Well, you know we gonna stream it if she do, long as she don't start playing music. My only thing is a father in the bed with his son is not like sleeping like that is not a bad thing, right? It's not sexual. When it comes to your boyfriend, no, not a boyfriend, no. The only one I'm okay with that is Russell Wilson, but we know Russell Wilson raised a little future since he was like what 6 months. Anyway, the son was like a teenager. No, the son got his face covered up. He was a little kid then. Simon was with Portia's daughter, and I was like, yeah. This topic made me have a drink too. Where was Dwight? I remember him having an issue with that, but it just seems like he really don't fuck with his son like that. It's sad. How you doing, Chrissy?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing? I'm tell us what's on your mind. I'm finna see if Royce finna go live.
So I have a few things. The first thing is it irritates me a lot when people say Royce this, Royce that. This child has two parents. His father need to be held at the same standard that she is because he's an equal partner in all of this. And if he's not being involved, and that's if he is being involved. It's even worse that he doesn't have a great relationship. He could be acting out. And I'm going to say this. I'm a social worker. Look at child development. Look at child development. It could be a number of things that could be taking place here. These are literally disorders for things like this when it happens at children. It don't have to be a trigger. It does not mean that something happened to him. It doesn't mean that he saw something or anything like that. What I will say is that a lot of the times now this generation is exposed to a lot. When I was young, I couldn't go on P-Hub and just look up whatever I wanted to, right?
Right.
It's so many things that's out. So now that these kids have this puberty and everything is just so in your face with sexuality on social media, these kids are acting out in crazy ways. And another thing, we got to think this LGBTQ X, Y, and Z, this being pushed on our kids vigorously. I just had a situation 2 weeks ago where my daughters were coming home knowing stuff about this, and I could not understand where it was coming from. It took for another teacher that I go off about my kids to anonymously say, listen, this is what's going down in the school. You need to be aware. I know you'll be the one to blow the whistle on it. So I said, well, what's going on? And she tells me there's a teacher that's considered herself asexual, that's having secret meetings with the girls inside of the school, that's told them they're in 5th grade and they need to know this information. First of all, I didn't even know what an asexual was. So I goes to look at, and that's only pertaining to sex. And she has the flag. She has everything going on. And she's telling these kids it's okay, to the point that all of these kids that knew each other since like pre-K, some of these girls are starting to date each other in 5th grade because she has told them it was okay. And
well,
they have no.
Let me ask you this. Why is she okay? Let's back up. If you're asexual, that just means you don't have sexual attraction to other people. So you don't have sex. Okay, cool. What that got to do with why is she even talking about that at work?
Exactly. And that was the point that I had, because I went off because I started questioning my kids. That's inappropriate to be discussing it, right? The excuse that was made was that a student came out to her, but I know that's not true. What happens is they started questioning her about the different flags and things of that nature. And she started talking to them about it, and they wanted to know more information. So
they're too young for that. What?
Yes. Yes, and she told them it was okay. So I kept my kids away from her and say, listen, my kids can no longer go to our class. These are not discussions that I have with my children. Me as a social worker, I deliver information as a trained professional in a way that I feel like my kids are mature enough to handle. And to be honest, my kids are not even heterosexual at this point. They are children.
Yeah, I don't like here's the thing. Sex is a part of life. Don't get me wrong. And yes, we do need to talk to kids about sex. See, I'm not a parent, so people would tell me, what do I know? Because I'm not a parent. But you do need to have those age-appropriate conversations. However, it does not need to be the focal point. Go be a kid. Like,
hello? And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I want my kids to focus on education and be children. But I say that to say that people kept questioning why, oh, it's a little boy, he could be a predator. It's because of everything we're seeing on social media. And this really is a disorder among some children, that they have these urges that they can't control and all of those things. I just want people to stop saying this is a Royce issue. Royce did what she was supposed to do. When she found out, she contacted his therapist. He has a therapist. He has to go through classes. He has a number of things that this baby has to do that she has been proactive in doing. I'm just more concerned about the father. Why don't he have a father around that's helping in this process?
Because his dad is fucked up. Listen.
Yeah.
His dad. I'm trying not to curse. His daddy can't even accept his own sexuality. But
absolutely,
his name is Braylon. Braylon told the police officer, "My daddy hasn't talked to me since 2020,
Lord,
because he doesn't like mommy's boyfriend." That's messed up.
But and it's also a double standard because even like the last caller said that why women date, why this, men do it every time. And once a woman say something, she's bitter. When I say, oh, I don't want her around, I don't know this young lady, I need to know her family, this and this and that, I need to know her before I allow her or her individuals around my children. When women say stuff like that, they're looked at as bitter. But women are told, oh, you can't date. Your boyfriend shouldn't be doing this. This shouldn't be doing that. We do it anyway, but it's still a double standard. Women should be able to date, but they also should do backgrounds to find out who your children are going to be around. You need to know their family. This person, it's family secrets. You got them about Uncle Joe. People know Uncle Joe is a predator and been messing with the little girls in the family. All of that stuff occurs all the time. So I remember when I was, and I'm gonna let you go, when I was in school and I had my first case study, and the case study involved a woman who married a man, right? They were married, and while they were asleep, he actually molested, this is her husband now, right? He actually molested her daughter and strangled her and actually killed her, right?
Wow.
The mother woke up to her daughter deceased. The stepfather, was at work, was gone to work. She didn't understand what happened. She called the police. It was a homicide because she was strangled, of course. The only person that was in the house was her and her husband. She was asleep at the time he did this. And they both went to jail. They both got sentenced to, I believe, 30 years.
Wow.
The mom too, right? And the case study was, why was the mother held liable for what happened to her daughter when this was her husband? She was sleeping, she was unaware. Now, mind you, this was a real case. And mind you, the mom didn't care. She felt so much guilt. She wanted time, right? She didn't care about the time. She wanted time. I think she ended up just getting 18 years or whatever. And the reason why is because you as a parent have to do your due diligence in protecting your children. This man was a sex offender. And had she did her due diligence, she would have known that. But she married someone without even knowing his past, and it put her child at risk. And that's the reason why she was charged, prosecuted, and went to jail. So we have to really think about things like that, because we're just this a popcorn generation. We jumping in and out of relationships, and you don't know what this baby could have been. He could have been exposed to something, or it really could be something that's in him. He could be acting out. His father not involved, but I just don't think it's just a Royce issue. She's doing all that she can. She's a single mom. She don't have support from the father. Let's start holding these fathers accountable. When I get cases in social work, and they about to
Man, the
charge
dads ain't hardly ever.
no. And guess what I do? If you get charging this mom with abuse and neglect, where the father at? Because we need to charge him too.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you can show me a court filing that you actively and diligently try to get your kid or visitation or be involved, you are just as much responsible.
Let me tell you something. If we start let me tell you something, and then I'm gonna let you go. If we start holding people accountable for the babies they make,
But we don't do it. It's always a blame game. But everybody just should do their part. Everybody should do their share. But from what I've read, she did what she was supposed to do. And the only reason why she was arrested, I think, is because he was actually around. And I think it was her boyfriend's son.
Yeah, that is why. That is why. She handled it the right way once she found out what happened. But the point is, he wasn't supposed to be around them kids unsupervised, period. My thing is this. You got a son like that, you don't need to have no other kids living in that house.
Absolutely.
Bottom line. But thank you, Chrissy. You have a good night.
Thank you so much. You too.
Bye-bye. It's a whole mess. The beauty said D. Howard doesn't like his own son because he is too much like him, a mirror image. A lot of fathers don't mess with their sons for that reason. You have a kid, you have to face your own demons and your own traumas. I mean, we know niggas don't claim their kids got the same name, same face. You be like, damn, you ain't claiming your. Anyway, what's going on, Sephora?
Hi, Storm. Wow, this is. I just popped on and I didn't really get the full story, what the topic is about, but I'm kind of getting a little bit of what it's about. And you know, everything that I'm listening to right now, it's like everything is on point. Okay. And I know that you mentioned that you used to be a social worker, and then the social worker that just came online. That right there is really comforting to me right now, because I especially the story that she just told. But see, my story did not end in homicide, thank God. But I have a 11.5-year-old daughter, and she just got removed from my custody a couple of weeks ago. And it's like, you know, there is some women that are lonely, and there is some women that really are looking for love, you know. And I just got married. I just married the man that I've been wanting to be with for over 15 years. Now, but see, I finally married him. So the thing is, you know, it's like you don't know someone until you really get to know them as time goes by, and you make commitments and stuff like that. More, I grow together. I mean, it's like, it's just a long story, but the thing is that lady was on point about, she said something about you got to do your due diligence. Yes. And you got to do your background checks, right? And I did my best to do that, and it was kind of hard to do that. So I wish I would have did something a little differently, but the thing is my daughter's safe. Nothing happened to her. She's not sexually active or anything like that, but it did result into me being responsible and having her removed from my care. So right now I'm working with the courts, but the thing is, you know, my husband at this time, which is the stepfather, he did his best to have his way with me and control me. And because he couldn't, you know, do that, and it's like he was so unfair in many different ways. He really manipulated for my daughter to get out of the picture. He did that. And
why did they remove her?
Well, because me and him were arguing. were arguing to the point to where it got really ballistic. Nobody put hands on each other, but the police was called and they felt like she was in danger, which, that could have resulted to the next level, but it didn't. So they removed her from me. So, and it's like what the lady was saying before I came on, come to find out, there was something that always kind of picked at me about him, and he had this one sexual type of way about himself. And I don't know, I said, well, maybe it's nothing or whatever, well, come to find out, he's an incest baby. And because of that, he's there was some stories that kind of was flying around about him. I didn't believe it, so anyways, I'm gonna divorce him. We've only been married a year, but I've known him over 15 years. So it's like
that situation is a lie. Is he a registered offender?
Well, he's an incest baby. His mother got raped by his uncle. So her uncle, I'm sorry.
Did he like pretend that you were his mom or something when you guys had sex?
Something, a lot of things just came out. A lot of things. He never been to counseling from as long as I know him, but they're just little red flags. And I saw the red flags, but at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe it's just my crazy mind. And I don't know. All the red flags, everything that you guys are saying, they're all the red flags that I went through.
Yeah. Well, now I'm gonna say this because we getting a lot of callers up here. Thank you, Sephora, for coming on. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Bye. It's so true though. You really don't know people till you know people. I think you're not telling us a lot of that story, but I ain't gonna make you tell it because that's a lot. So I'm gonna just say he's an incest baby. Ain't no pipe that good. Listen, for some people, I don't know. I don't sleep with men, so I don't know. I know in some states they don't give you a birth certificate if you're an incest baby. He probably had like fantasies of like, ooh, pretend to be my sister. I ain't trying to make us share everything. This is a public platform, but that's so sad. All right. What's going on, Vanessa?
Whew, heavy. That last caller, she got me. That's part of the problem. I'm not trying to blame Royce. I watched her when she was on the show, and I watched her behavior. And to be honest with you, she was out there, wild child trying to get a bag. There's a lot of lessons to be learned from this story. It's very, very sad. At the end of the day, I feel for the son and I feel for his victims. Both parents are horrible. She is a disaster, and so is the daddy. You heard that term, you are what you eat. Well, you are what you breed. Now, I don't know if he was touched, and I don't know if he saw something, but my guess is that if he wasn't touched, he definitely saw something, because Royce is wild. You already see her there with her son, with a little young boyfriend in the bed. Who knows where his hands could have been? She didn't have enough gumption to be like, this is not cool. The reason we're not picking on Royce, but she is the one that had custody of the child. If he was with the father and he did the same thing as Royce, we would be all over him. So let's get that clear, people. Now, she had custody of that little boy. That's number one. She's a wild child. She's been that way before she even had that son, because I tell you, I used to watch her. So her behavior is deviant. She's a sexual deviant, and so is the father. And that's why the son has it. It's deep. It could even be spiritual. And I know you're a spiritual person.
I didn't want to go there. But I'm like,
I'll roll down that alley, because guess what? that stuff is generational and it jumps on the next generation.
Because y'all
She's
don't
been
understand,
like
man. When y'all have sex with all these people, you take on their spirits, and then
Thank
y'all
you.
start producing these children, and your children will pick up them spirits in your womb.
In the bed too, that's where the spirits are. And you know she did something with different men. How many different men has that little boy seen? And then he has no relationship with his father. He's done videos. She's allowed him to do videos where he's literally begging his dad to reach out to him. And we're all surprised that he has issues. Children are not born that way.
How many men has he slept in the bed with? Because
Exactly.
one thing about me, yes, I used to work with kids. I don't want to be around them like that. Like, even if I date you, like you ain't sent. I don't date nobody with kids, but you ain't sent your kids away for the weekend. Like, I'm not. What you? Well, it's okay. He laid in the bed. I'm not finna get in that bed. I'm going home. Like, that just ain't. That ain't cool with me.
I say this to any woman or man: you go to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is women and men are not laying down with their husband and wives. Okay, that might be old fashioned. Okay,
man,
fine.
they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear that.
If you're gonna lay down and create a child, are you thinking for 5 minutes, who is this guy or who is this woman? What type of father is he going to be? What type of mother is she going to be? And then you wonder why. You know how many kids we got like that now? Look at Future, with the exception, thank God, of what's her name, Sierra. She got a good one. But look at all them babies. Father's missing. You knew what type of man he was. Come on, Royce. She knew what type of dude he was. But
matter
yet
of
you
fact,
wanted to have.
Matter of fact, Diva just said it. Tamar did the same thing with Logan and David.
They want to get a bag. And sometimes, okay, maybe you don't want to get a bag. Maybe you're getting up in age and you're like, you know what? I'm getting older as a woman. I just want to have a child. Whatever your reason is. But are you taking 5 seconds to say, what kind of father is this man going to be? Look at just what happened with Tristan Thompson.
Yeah.
He told her he didn't want the child. So now you're going to get all in, oh, I want you to be around my child. That child's going to have issues immediately because you're greedy. So enjoy the money because you're going to need it for therapy for these kids. And if that son grows up and starts kicking your butt or doing something crazy to you, well, that's your payment because you wanted the money. Now, I'm not saying
he kept it real with her. And he kept it real with her.
She knew he wasn't a good guy.
Yeah, and he told her, he said, I'll pay you child support, but I don't want nothing to do with the kid. He kept it real with her.
Before she even had the child. So it's like, I'm not blaming women. I'm telling you, if this child was in the custody of that other nut, I would have been all over him too. If you want to have a date, like somebody mentioned in the comments, send your son to a trusted family member. If he can't be with the daddy, send your child to a trusted family member and enjoy your date.
Yeah.
But why you have the child all up in the mix? You know he done seen some stuff. Royce is wild. She's wild. I know that boy seen some stuff.
Damn, Dwight used to say that back in the day. Dwight said that allegedly that she used to have sex parties in the house when that boy was there.
She is wild. Now, I'm not in her business, but I could just tell from her personality watching on the show. She's wild. And here's the clue. She got with him. He's wild. So if you're a woman, you got to bring it to get with him.
Well, she likes bisexual men anyway.
She's into that. And so is he. So those two spirits got together spiritually and made a child. And they're wondering why he's doing what he's doing. Duh. I don't even have to go spiritual, even though I know it is. We don't even got to go down that alley. But if a kid sees some things, he's going to pick it up.
My thing is, you as an adult, you do what you do. I'm not wild, but I live my life, but I don't have any kids. But the thing is, once you have kids, you have to, you can't do that shit around them. You just can't
separate. Look, if you want to be out in them streets like that, like the daddy is, he don't have his son up under him watching him. He's guilty of not spending time with his child. That's his guilt. Her guilt is she wants to be wild and continue to be a wild child. But you shouldn't have your son watching different men coming in and out of your bed and think there's no effect? You dummy. She's guilty, and so is he. That poor kid got 2 jacked up parents. That's all I can say. And others are going to suffer because of those 2 idiots. I blame both of them equally. They're both guilty of 2 different things. But nonetheless, you are what you eat, you are what you breed. I'm done. This story is horrible, but thank you, Storm, for covering it.
Absolutely. Take care now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dang, I missed this comment here. There was a pickup. Yeah, we showed that earlier. Damn it. Hold on one sec. I missed the comment. Damn it. Somebody made a comment about women liking bisexual men. And I wanted us to talk about it. Damn it. But thank you for the super chat that was sent. They said Storm need to get his PhD in counseling. I don't know if I can do that. I can get my PhD. I don't know about in counseling, though. I don't know. What's going on with Roshandra?
Hey, Storm.
How you doing?
I'm good. I had a feeling I was next. What's up? Yo, so I just wanted to start off by saying the first advice I feel like I'm not gonna give is I don't think getting married is gonna help. I don't think it's not gonna help. I'm just not sure if it's going to help. Cause my mom and daddy was married too, and he ain't doing nothing. It's just what it is.
It's just sad.
Right, it is so sad. And I think the next thing is I don't think going to the 1800s is going to help. I don't think that's going to help. I don't think that going back to the old days and sweeping pouches and cooking for your man and doing, I don't think it's going to do nothing. I think that's the worst advice. It's just what it is. That ain't going to help nothing because I done seen them sweep plenty of pouches and ain't made no difference. I think the first thing we need to do is realize when we're looking at monsters. And, just take everything out the equation. If somebody's a monster and you get any signs of them being a monster, and we're not saying, I don't feel like you can directly look at someone and see if they're a monster. But I feel like if they start exhibiting monster behavior, we just have to get away from those people. And people have to tell on those people if they've done something to them. And that's like the plainest, simplest way to put it. And I agree, like, with the girl when she said about the breeding thing, because I also thought about, I think that when we start breeding with people for checks and for bags, that's we deal with monsters for the rest of our life that we don't see coming. Because honestly, my mama, me and my brother are by 2 different men, but she was married to both of those men. Basically what I'm saying is my brother is like, quote unquote, he a dusty.
Oh, he a trash bag dusty.
Listen, no one can put the dust in dust like that.
Wow.
He's a dusty. So I just feel like what I'm saying is when she first was dealing with him, you know how some people think, oh, after 18 years, you raise a kid for 18 years. You don't raise a kid for 18 years. I hope you don't think they're going to get out your face when they get 18.
No, this is a lifelong commitment.
Like they're going to still be in your face at 40 and 50 years old. So once they're here, they're here. And I just feel like, sometimes it's like this lesson that Sin be talking about thinning the herd is like very important, because we really can't afford for monsters to be in our society, especially amongst little children, because this is really, I think this is sick. Like this is really sick. But I noticed that a lot of kids that are his age though are doing the same thing. I actually know like at least 3 or 4 kids his age who have done the same thing to other kids that I know.
Oh my God. Now let me show them this. Roshandra said she ain't trying to go back to this. This is a housewife from the 50s. She said we're not going back to that. No, ma'am.
Because I don't think it's going to stop anything. They were still getting drunk and touching kids back then too.
She said no, ma'am.
No, ma'am, that's not gonna help it. I promise you. When you throw on that long skirt, he's still gonna be touching something. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. You see the hair. What they want us to do, and you know some Storm, I don't trust people who tell me to go back then to those times because listen, I like my hair to be braided back, but only under my wig. That's it. That's it. I can't afford to be going around here with those type of clothing with my hair braided back every day. I don't care what anyone says. I don't love that. I don't love it and I don't care. So I like what I like, and I just feel like everyone should like what they like. But I feel like, and you know something else, Storm, like I thought this was crazy. I feel like when I first seen that kid make that video about his dad not seeing him and all that stuff, I thought that like sometimes we watch some women manipulate their children into getting into adult habits or getting into adult situations, and then those kids start thinking maturely but not correctly. Like they start trying to be grown, but more so in a sinister way because they think that is what grown is, when really that's not what maturity is. So it's like, you know, I don't know what's specifically going on, but I feel like I don't care what nobody say. She knows she shouldn't have left that boy around them little bitty kids like that. I don't care if I'm upstairs in the kitchen. Once I hear that you do stuff like that, you ain't around me. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't around me at all, and I don't feel bad about it. And you know, I am gonna say this though, and this is what messes. I think this is what messes women up, right? The dudes that are criminals, keep it a stack. The dudes that are criminals, the trash bag dusties, they got the best D. Keep it real.
Yes, and you know something. Listen, I'm gonna tell you now. I don't really want to put my business out. I don't know. Maybe some type of way you get to a Storm, because I just want to know how much you're gonna start charging for these sessions with these people bringing these crazy stories in here. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all had a crazy story, and then y'all be like just telling Storm and Storm just telling me. Y'all doggone right, y'all need to send some money. And me too. But what I'm saying is, listen, with that criminal background, I don't know what it is, but you know, all I'm gonna say is they are debonair and suave. You know what I'm saying? And they are not a criminal for no reason. And I think that sometimes, even when we are doing wrong things, it's just like I think like this rap lyric said, it was like if I smoke 100 cigarettes, I still wouldn't get my niggas now. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless of whether I'm doing wrong or not, it's not up for me to help you do wrong. So it's like, you know, at the end of the day, it's just so much going on and don't nothing make sense. And you know, I think this too. I think that I understand that it's we want to get up and we don't want to blame black women for nothing because they have had enough blame. And I agree. But I think that when people get up and start thinking that but their children can be monsters amongst us and we can't say nothing because it's their children,
they can go to hell. Kiss my ass. Listen,
that's a no-go.
Listen, your son out here molesting people. Listen, we gonna call it what it is.
We're gonna call it what it is. I'm sorry, sister. We might need to have this conversation in the back, but this conversation still gonna happen.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you how bad. Let me tell you how sinister my mind is. You know what I'd be thinking if I was her? Well, you know what? I can't put this little nigga in the facility, and I can just have another baby and start over, try again.
Right.
I just can't let this be my legacy. I'm sorry.
I could just get him I'm sorry, but I'm finna put you in this facility. I'm finna move somewhere else, and if they put your crazy ass on the street, then the street people better be aware. Because I'm not coming back by you because you are freaking out of your mind.
What happens if he tries to rape her? Because it's very possible.
Because you know when there's no honor amongst thieves, right? There's no honor. So when you're doing wrong and everyone else is doing wrong, oh, you're next. What you think? You think he just gonna get us, but he ain't gonna get you?
Why
And
go
that's the
there?
thing, like,
Why go there? Because I'm keeping it real. That's a very real thing.
yes, Storm. I always like listen. I when I first heard that, I was like, listen. You know, my auntie, like when we were little, like my auntie them school teachers, and this little guy, you know, he used to always act up. Needless to say, years on, he started living with his mother, right? Because there's nowhere else for him to live. He doesn't know how to act. He doesn't know how to acclimate himself to society. So now he has to be with his mom all the time. What I'm saying is, he end up eventually hurting his mother. Sometimes y'all can't coddle these people. Y'all gotta let a spade be a spade. Get y'allself out. You gotta protect yourself too, even though these are your children. If something is wrong, there is nothing you can do. Ain't no praying. Ain't no getting married to his daddy. Ain't no bringing food in the house. Ain't none of that gonna help.
And the thing is, people like, it's easy to judge when you're not in the situation. Look, I understand all that, but listen, when it comes to, I can at least say sons, you cannot coddle your sons. I'm not saying,
No.
but just don't coddle them because it's bad. But Rashonda, I want to thank you for coming on. You're very pretty, by the way.
Thank you, Storm. You know, sexy like you, babe. I'm hot. You know, we like the same age, so baby, we in that hot group. You know what I'm saying? That
We're
real
that high
hot,
group.
real hot group. Yes.
Listen, I'm all right. I try. But I appreciate you for coming on.
All right, thanks, Storm. Have a good one, boo.
You too. Bye-bye. I should have asked her. I wonder if she's from Memphis. Roshandra, if you still there, are you from Memphis? I feel like you're from Memphis. Kind of give me K Michelle a little bit. Anyway, what's going on? Oh, Norris got the Superman t-shirt. What's going on, Norris?
Hi, Storm.
How you doing?
Good. I just want to say that, you know, Dwight Howard, he's a poor excuse for a man. You know, he's a deadbeat NBA bench warmer who played for the Lakers. Wow. You know, he need to take that imaginary cape off and take his clumsy ass to therapy to get help because he needs professional help, just like Royce and his son do. They all need to go to therapy and get some help because why you and Royce didn't take no parenting classes? I don't get that. It's like you brought a baby into the world and like how you gonna go almost 2 years without seeing your child?
2 years, all because he doesn't like the mom's boyfriend. That's BS to me. This is BS.
I know, big as you are, you weak sauce. You a pussy cat for that. You need to grow the F up. That's what you need to do. And that's why the Lakers probably ain't playing your sorry butt, because your career is tanking just like you as a dad and a person.
Ooh-wee.
And your son gonna grow up to resent you, not just Royce, but you too, because you didn't have nothing to do with him.
True. Thank you. Don't play with me, play with your mammy. Said the current boyfriend allegedly knew and still brought his son around. Where's his accountability? Good point.
Yeah, just like 50 Cent and his oldest son don't get along. And you know, his son gonna be the same way, gonna feel the same way about him. But yeah, her big mistake, Roy's big mistake was letting a man sleep in the bed with her son. It's like, you're not married to the man. You don't know that man well enough to be letting him in the bed with your son. And that man, what kind of man are you? A real man would never get in the bed with another man's child. Like, for real.
No.
You
like, for what? And I read the caption. It said they were taking a nap. That's not his kid. Like, it's weird. It's just weird.
You don't do that. That's not a real man. That's a B-made man, bitch-made man. You don't do no stuff like that. What's wrong with you? That's weird. That's weirdo type behavior. That's like predator vibes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you should have told Royce, like, I want to be with you, but I can't be in the bed with your child. I can't do that. That's not a line I'm willing to cross, because that's not my child, and that's crossing the line, because you don't know. That man could have maybe did something to her child, and that might not have been the only man who she allowed in the bed with her son. It's
weird. It's just weird.
I know, and it's like she's so man crazy. It's like she should have focused on being a single mother. Know what it's like to be a single mother. You know, you don't need to go from man to man to try to find a father figure for your son. That's a big mistake. It's a lot of women every day that work their fingers to the bone and prove to be the best mothers that they can be to their sons, and their sons still have a good life even without their fathers. So It's like she weak-minded. It's like you so desperate for a man that you forgot how to be a mother.
Oh, well. Ooh, damn, Royce, he just read the shit out of you.
It's like it's like she should have took parenting classes, and it's like stop being so loose. And once you have a child, you should have turned your life around and try to, sacrifice, more for your child. Be a better example, because Dwight is a garbage can loser. I hear he have other children. He probably either neglect them or treat them better than your child. So it's like, and you knew what kind of man he was. It's like, she was a cheerleader for the Orlando Magic, and he was the NBA player that played for the same team. It's like, y'all didn't have no business being together in the first place. And they tried to tell them like they was breaking, the rules by being together, and she ignored the rules. That's
just sad.
And she probably saw him, Dwight Howard, and how he moved. Went from groupie to groupie as an NBA dancer, and she still sacrificed her body and her soul to be with this idiot.
Because it's all for a check. Keep talking. I'm gonna grab my water here. It's all for a check, though.
Yeah, him and her, they don't have no morals, no values, no anything. It's like the white man. I'm disappointed in you. Very disappointed.
You said it's like the white man.
He's a dumb pop, and so is she. And like I said, that like after the child assaulted I don't know if the girl was the first in school was the first victim.
I think so.
If that's the case, Royce, you should have took your son to a facility then, and you should have took your behind to therapy and got some help. So by the time your son could have been getting all the help that he needed, so this could have been avoided with the boyfriend and his children, and you could have learned how to be a better mother.
Good point.
Provided a better environment for him. It's like you had an opportunity to get him help, and you had an opportunity to get help,
and you didn't. It's just sad. It's just sad no matter what way you slice it. But I want to thank you, Norris, for coming on. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for taking my call. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye. Before I take the rest of the calls here, I'm gonna have to use the bathroom too because I've been drinking. But listen, I wanted to say thank you to my subs. I forgot who told me, but when a car got stolen, I totally wasn't even thinking that your renter's insurance, like in your, to your apartment, will actually cover what was stolen out of your car. I didn't even realize that. And y'all told me. So finally today, I'm gonna show y'all the text. These bum ass sluts say I be lying. All right, let's see. Okay, y'all see the bottom? Damn, I don't think y'all can really see it. Let me see. Anyway, they sending the check. All right. They sending the check for what was in the car. So just thank you. What they steal, they end up getting a computer out of there. Wasn't nothing on it but some videos. It wasn't no sex tape, nothing like that. But listen, what it say? It said you're receiving a payment on your claim and names of claim in the amount of $1,894.71. You will receive a check within 5 to 7 business days. from assurance. So thank you for the person that told me, because I would have never known. I just would have never known. I just would have never known. Miss RMA to RN. I'm starting to wonder if Dwight knew what was going on and took the coward's way out and left Royce to deal with their son's issues alone. Possibly. A lot of dudes do that. What's going on, Emma?
Oh, shoot. Hello, Storm.
How you doing?
I am well. So I normally don't catch your lives, and I normally do not comment on anything on YouTube. But this topic tonight struck a chord with me. So I am a guardian ad litem. I do advocate for abuse and neglected children in foster care. And first and foremost, I must say that my heart absolutely goes out to the young man and all of his victims. Okay, because children are not, when children are born, they are pure vessels, right? Everything they become are things that they are taught, okay, whether through nurture or nature. They're taught those things. Whether something happened to him in his life, or it was by the exposure. Now, all these things play a role in children, right? I am an avid advocate that I believe everyone who has a child should have parenting classes. Every single endeavor you seek out in life, whether you want to become a mechanic, a cook, you have to go to school for it. But
yes,
people can just out of a night of passion, or just acting out of just pure impulse, create a life. 9 months later, you walk out of the hospital with a baby, and it's like, good luck.
Yep. Yeah. Good luck with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's been my stand from a public health standpoint. That's been my mission, is in my platform, because I feel as though people don't understand that every single decision you make from that moment on, that you walk out the hospital with that child, impacts the child. And another thing that a lot of parents don't seem to take into account is the ACEs, right? Your adverse childhood experiences. Every single thing that happens in a child's life, whether you transition them out of their binky, their bottles, or they're losing their lovies, moving them away from their friends, all these things impact the child, right? So as the child grows up, and if you don't transition them properly, can cause trauma. All these things will cause trauma. Now, when you don't handle the thing correctly and you don't pay attention to your child's psychological health, the child grows up. And oftentimes, I've been doing some research, and one of my papers was on how ACEs, impacts adults in their life. Like, some people develop chronic illnesses, and it's because of trauma they endured in childhood that was never dealt with. And as they grow up, they develop obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, and all these things are a cause of the way that they were mistreated as children. Now, I say this to say I get the not wanting to point blame and all of that, but we also must be accountable. When you have children, your whole dynamic should change. And I heard a lot of great points tonight. Rashandra, she was on point. She was hilarious. But my big thing is, I also heard a lot of adults making excuses. Where's the accountability? Okay, whether, as a mother, if your child has that history, there's no reason for anyone else to be in the home. If you cannot deal with the child, there are different programs out there that you could send him off to. Realizing that she's still operating out of needs and out of her, her wants, her desires, and not the child's best interests. And I think that's a problem in life, is that oftentimes adults do not act in what's in the best interest of the child. When you become a mother, no one cares how heavy your libido runs. It's no longer that's
about that. You gotta
no longer be a focal point.
Yes,
I have an aunt, for example.
Hold on. For example, you have to raise your kid, and they don't want to do that.
Yes, I have an aunt, for example. Her she got married when her daughter was 17, and everybody's like, "Why are you getting remarried?" Because the father, her child's father, died when the daughter was very young, and she raised her daughter, put her through public school, waited till the daughter was old enough to go to college, she was courting a guy, of course. She introduced the daughter to the man. The man was never spending nights. She would go out on dates with the man. She came home at the end of her dates. That was it. They would go out to lunch together or out to dinner together with the daughter, but he never came in the home. When the daughter turned 17, as the daughter was exiting out of the life to go off to school, they had a talk. Hey, you know, this man's been in my life for some time. He loves me. You know, we're planning on getting married. And she got her daughter's blessing. She got married that way. The reason she did that way is out of respect for her child, not wanting to bring a strange man in and not wanting to change the family dynamic. Oftentimes, you have to delay your gratification for the better good.
Point, but and you know what? I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you, Emma, for coming on. Okay.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye. That's a good point. Sometimes you gotta delay your gratification. It's so true. I don't see Royce live anywhere. So, Aurica?
Hey.
How you doing tonight?
I'm all right, baby. How you doing?
I'm good. What's your comment tonight?
I think that it's so strange to me how when I look at everything that's going on, it just doesn't make any sense. It just, to me personally, I think that a lot of people, even people in this chat, shouldn't even be here. There are a lot of children who are not getting help with homework right now. There's a lot of children who are not being cared for right now. There are women right now who are probably in their first trimester of their pregnancy, and they can actually get rid of this baby because they don't really want it right now and avoid all of this. It's ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous. I see it all the time. I actually volunteer with a women's shelter, and the amount of women who will go through with a pregnancy knowing good and well they don't want to have the baby, they know good and well that the man is not fit to be a father, and they do all of that, and they have no problem showing up with the child, and the child is halfway dead. It is abuse, M word, R word. And when I ask her what she was thinking at the time, she wasn't thinking. And two, when I ask her what's going on with the father, she has no idea. A lot of these women, not only do we need to have more responsibility when it comes to motherhood, when it comes to women just stopping and saying, do I really want a child? I think a lot of women think that a child is actually like an extra arm that you grow, meaning they think that having a baby means you're going to have a miniature version of you. A child is an independent unit. What do you do when your child has a rebellious personality and you don't like that? If you can cultivate a child.
I'm muted. My bad. I muted myself. Some of y'all got kids that absolutely try y'all. Like you just clash. It's very powerful. Very.
It just doesn't make sense if you don't like your children, if you don't think you're ready to be a mother. And it's just basic common sense. We're watching what's happening in the world right now. It is going to get very hard to have a baby and have a job and progress in the world. Look at gas prices. There is some woman in this chat right now who has a child who is trying to figure out homework by themselves. And she's not helping that child. She's busy here minding somebody else's business.
Oh, damn.
So I think it's very much an important conversation that we need to have about how serious we are about motherhood, because one thing that everybody needs to remember is you care about your child. The other 7 billion people on the face of the earth, they don't give a damn.
Don't give a damn.
If your child gets out of pocket, if your child gets out of sorts, if their behavior is unacceptable, the rest of us will lock your child up and throw away the key and feel no way about it. And you can rally and riot and protest all you want. At the end of the day, we don't give a damn. So if you really care about your child, you need to have a serious look in the mirror and say, if I really want my child to be here, what am I going to sacrifice? A lot of women don't want to have the conversation about sacrifice. And the reason I'm putting it on us is because at the end of the day, you have 9 months to figure out what you're going to do with yourself. And you know that most of these men are garbage. And they blame you for the fact that they're garbage. They blame you for having their babies. They blame you for everything that they do. And even still, not only do you bring in a child that you can't take care of, but you make garbage men immortal by having their babies and bringing life into the world. You turn garbage men into gods when you breed for them.
Uh-oh. And listen, that is why certain people say, don't have that nigga baby. I ain't gonna lie, I grew up hearing that. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I grew up hearing my mom say that shit like, oh, your nigga did what? Bitch, you gonna have his baby, girl, you stupid as fuck. Like, listen, what they say, if he don't act right, the baby ain't gonna make it.
But here's the thing. You will see women complain and say, you're blaming them, you're blaming them, you're blaming them. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if your feelings are hurt, because at the end of the day, how long have we been saying that the men out here are garbage?
Decade.
How long have we been complaining about them? And I will even say this for myself, because my first child, I was foolish. My first child, I was foolish. I had women around me telling me to leave him alone. And I didn't want to listen because you can't tell me anything. But as soon as that baby got here, I needed everybody's help. There's a lack of humility. You want to be stuck here you want to be stuck here by yourself with this baby, then this is what you're going to get. You're going to get predators. Did you know 1 in 6 boys is M-worded before he is I believe it's 18? 1 in 6 that we know of. So you have no idea who you're bringing around your child. You have no idea where they've been. You have no idea where he comes from. You just need some company. And that's all I had to say.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, all right?
You too, baby.
Man. Yeah, you do make him a god when you give him a kid. Yeah, I'm just saying. And they gonna put everything on you as a mother. I'm telling y'all, women get bold with that shit and be like, I ain't having your baby. You're gonna see these men get in line. I'm just saying, they're gonna get in line. Because I keep trying to tell y'all, men use babies to trap y'all too. And y'all, okay, y'all don't hear me, it's fine. All right. Missy Moselle, how you doing?
Hey darling, how you doing?
I'm good. I got to use the bathroom. You want to go ahead and talk?
Yeah. Well,
okay,
I just want to say this. Some women are afraid of growing up. When she did not been woman enough to tell the mother what was going on, it seemed like she had to hide it under the rug. That was like very childlike. Okay, she can't be a woman and still doing unlike childlike things like hiding something. No matter how it looks, honesty is always the key. But Ross was probably embarrassed that this happened and probably don't know how to, and it's not an excuse, but she don't know how to be an adult. And that is the problem with social media. She's so quick to hop on TikTok and make these new TikToks. Every time we have a TikTok, she's on there, or, you know what I'm saying? So she's trying to entertain the people. She can't not allow herself to get old, not old, but grow up. She haven't grown up yet. And that is probably the biggest problem in single mothers. Yes, she's a single mother. No matter if she has a boyfriend or a fiance, she's still a single mother with 1 child. And I don't think that she learned anything from the women on Basketball Wives. Nobody shouldn't have learned anything. But when they was trying to tell her to, calm down, be more attentive to your child, she lost her village. And I think that's the biggest problem. Like, these young women don't have a village. So their village is social media. Their validation is strangers. And that's sad. Their validations is strangers. And she's not the only mother out here. Now, some people, they don't have to deal with that allegation in their household, but they still think, oh, let me put on this camera and tell the world how hard it is, or let me do this and let me get some validation. Let me cook up a processed meal and let's see how many people tell me I'm a good mother. And necessarily not really trying to be a good mother. There's no reason why a 13-year-old cannot talk to his mother that he's been with since he was a baby. For him to be angry and take it out in that allegation form tells me that he can't talk to her. She don't understand him.
Yes.
He don't understand her. He don't understand why this grown woman is worried about how many followers she has. Because I'm gonna say this. Yes, she do care about that. Look, I made it viral. She's not the only woman. And when this lady, I'm not trying to have any beef with anybody, but the lady that just left, she was full of judgmental. If you are so great, help these young women. Teach them how to be a tender mother, not just try to say, anything, because a lot of times people don't know how to be a good mother. Some women don't know how to be alone. And you, as a woman that's been there, done that, you need to try to help us and young women to learn how to be alone. Learn how to love your kids. And that should be enough love than a man. And it's not even a love from a man. It's the penis. And we're not even talking about that.
A lot of times it don't even really be no loving relationship.
It's the penis.
It'd be good.
If it wasn't the penis, the women will still be depressed. So
my thing is, let me say this, Messy. My thing is this though too. I don't want to get it misconstrued. Just because a relationship with your ex-husband, your ex-boyfriend, baby daddy, whatever, don't work out, I'm not saying you can't find love. I'm not saying you're not supposed to date. I'm not saying you can't live your life and be someone outside of being a mother. But once you have that kid, everything changes. It just changes.
And I want to say this, I'm going to get off. I was born in a time frame where drugs took over. What I knew now of me being a kid, we used to play this game called House. And baby, we was doing things we didn't supposed to be doing. Not why we was doing it, because somebody else in that group was doing something with somebody else that taught them that. So they came back and brought it back to us. Now, did we tell our parents? No, because one person said, don't tell nobody, it's a secret. So how many of us played house and we know goodness well we wasn't supposed to be hunching? Because at that time, some of our parents used to cover our eyes when there was certain scenes on TV that was hunching. Y'all get what I'm saying? So we knew certain things. So now I don't have no sadness, because I think we all grew up. Some of us grew up knowing what we was doing. We wasn't playing house. We was playing hide and go get. So why we not going to think children are not doing the same thing? They have a little bit more access than what we have. There's more understanding and more acceptance for certain things for children.
I'm going to just say, and I hear you, and I'm going to just say, it's like, the older I get, I'm like, you know what? If you don't have a stable marriage / relationship, just don't even have a kid. It just doesn't work.
You're right. And you can't, sometimes people haven't grown up and they assume that a child was going to help them to grow up, and they can't. But Stormy, thank you for letting me be messy.
Thank you. You have a good one. All right.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Is it Shaky?
Yes. Hello.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
I'm fine. I just wanted to...
Wait a minute. They said why ain't no birth control for women? They had birth control for men. The men didn't want. The men complained because it gave them headaches and weight gain. All right, go ahead, Shaky.
All right. So I just want to say that it's really sad that well, we are the only community. Black America is the only community that can't figure out how to be a family and a community. We're blaming.
Don't make me get my belt because you talking. Don't make me get my belt.
We are blaming each other. We're ignoring our children. Our children are growing up neglected by both parents. There's no one around that cares about, like, you know how you have the aunts and the uncles that pitch in, we don't have none of that anymore. It's like everyone's an island on their own, and the children suffer from that. It takes a village to raise a child. So I don't understand why everyone's blaming Royce. Royce needs support too. That's one. And then the second thing, I got to put the blame on the man. He's the leader. He got her pregnant. He got her pregnant. He chose to get her pregnant, whether it was a mistake or not. And he has his little demons. And of course, it sounds like he might have even touched his own son. That's what it sounds like to me. I could be wrong. But yeah, we don't have a community. I'm in the Jewish community a lot, and I see how the men are very protective of their wives and children. Nobody can come in the Jewish community and hurt their wife or child.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be, but you can't get a lot of these black men to be on code like that.
So that's the thing. It's like black men have dropped the ball, seriously. And I know that we're taught to blame the woman. I heard one woman say, you got to teach a woman how to be alone. That's very unnatural for a woman to be alone. Women are nurturers. We're here to, nurture the children, nurture the family. So to tell a woman to teach her how to be alone with the child, that's destroying the family as well. So I just see that we don't have the dynamics of how to be a family anymore. We dropped the ball, and mainly the men had dropped the ball of being leaders in the community. I watch a lot of your homegirl, Cynthia G. I was on her live the other day, and that's where I get all my ideas from. I used to disagree with everything Cynthia G said, but when you hear stories like this, when you hear, a lot of these stories of the men that's killing their baby mothers, they're hurting their children, they're walking away from
them. Why don't nobody want to talk about that? Like I had the cop came on last night, and they kept saying in the chat, ask him about black femicide. So I asked him, and he was like, well, yeah, I've seen 1 or 2 cases, but then I'm like, okay, that don't sound right though. So I said, okay, but you've seen domestic violence, right? He's like, yeah, I've seen that 6 or 7 times a day over 13 years working there. So, okay, cool. So I'm like, we hear about all this black femicide, but why does nobody want to talk about it? It's like everybody's skipping over that.
The women and children in our community are not protected. And our protectors are our men. Our men, not you, Storm, but most of our men are looking at us as an enemy, a problem.
Okay. They're
looking at their children as a bill. They can buy brand new shoes, but they don't want to pay child support. So it's just really messed up, and I think it's only going to get worse until there's a black man to stand up and say, hey, it's time to hold the men accountable and to go back into the homes and protect your children. Now, Dwight don't need to go back in the home because apparently he's a problem. But
no, the man is supposed to be the head, and as a matter of fact, if you really want to be real about it, we as a people, we're supposed to be on code so much that it ain't nothing you can say to me about my partner, about my spouse. Like if I gotta say something to you, we'll handle that behind closed doors. But in public, we are a united front, and we are just not. We're not there.
You know, a lot of Nigerians are like that as well. I have Nigerian friends. They don't play about their wife and children. Think you can come into their community and hurt one of their family. They look at them as Nigerian men look at their women and children as an extension of them, and they take pride in it. Our men don't look at us as an extension of them, and they don't take pride in us.
Oh, we're missing the pride. Okay.
So Royce is left out here alone. She's probably depressed. She's searching for love, and in the middle of that, we have a child that's suffering. Now this child is going to grow up and be a monster, and it's just unfortunate.
T-Time, I'm gonna ask him that. T-Time said, how did the cops see DV without it not eventually ending in homicide? I don't know. Like I said, y'all are telling me as far as the stats are concerned, is it every 5 hours or what's
Yes.
Okay. He said he dealt with domestic violence 6 to 7 calls every day over 13 years. So either somebody's not reporting these murders, like there's a disconnect.
Well, what community is he in? Is he a cop in the Jewish community? Because they don't kill their wives. Not at the rate that Black men kill their women. So maybe he's just in another community.
Maybe.
But I'm in the DMV area, and it happens a lot out here.
Damn.
So I'm a mother of 3 boys, and I have 1 girl. I would never, and my boys are about the same age as the Roy's son. They have a father in their life, but we're not together. But you have to pay attention to everything that your children are doing. You cannot be everywhere with them, and that's the unfortunate part, because children are very sneaky. But as long as you are instilling things in their minds, you're talking to them, you're watching what they watch on TV, you're involved. Things like this is very hard to happen. I grew up in a home where my father was inside of my home. So when one caller said that they used to play house, my dad would not ever. I couldn't have a boyfriend until I was 22 years old, until I moved out of the house. That was my first boyfriend, and that's my children's father. So it's very important that the fathers are inside of the home, inside of the children's lives. That would stop a lot of this nonsense.
You right about that. Take care now.
You too. Bye.
I wouldn't allow the date coming up either. I wouldn't allow the date. Wouldn't allow to have sex. Nothing. I mean, it was preached to me to wait till marriage for sex. I don't know if that was a good or bad thing. Mrs. C. Bex?
What's up, Storm? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. I want to take this a step back.
Okay.
I want to take this a step back, and here's where my point of view is. Royce, to me, she's overactive, she's oversexual, and to me, that means, or that shows symptoms that something happened to her when she was a minor and nobody did anything, or she couldn't go to her mom, her dad, or her grandmother to say, this person did this to me. So to me, she seems like a child that's acting out continuously. So I want to say that and put it on this. We do want men to step up and be men, but we also have to look at the fact that when something happens to a child, i.e., Royce's son, something happened to him when he was younger, maybe. And so right now, he's stuck at the age that whatever that thing happened. He may not be able to voice or vocalize and say, this is what happened. But if he was, 5 or 6, where you really don't have a handle on your emotions and your anger, if that's what happened at that age, he might be mentally stuck there. And so that's what I think a lot of the problem in our community is. Of course, we always saying, mental health, mental health, mental health. But if it's something that happens as a child, you have to get on that thing as a child. You can't wait till you're 41, 40, grown. And, you know, in some cases, I will say, in some cases, you can tackle that thing as an adult. But for the
It's
best,
hard though.
it is. For the best outcome, that thing needs to be tackled at the time that it happened. Now I'm gonna give you my little story so you can see what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
My husband wasn't molested or anything like that. His mother, he's a grandmama's baby. His mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it took her very fast. She was deceased within a year of diagnosis. So mother passed away when he was 16. That's the first tragedy. Second tragedy, grandma, he's a grandmama's baby. Grandma passed when he was 17 on a bridge of 18. So that's the second tragedy. When the mama and the grandmama died, his daddy was like, oh, they auntie got them. It's a girl and a boy. They're twins. He said, oh, they auntie got them because auntie stepped in to raise the children. So he lost 3 people in the span of 2 years.
Oh, that's so traumatic.
So mentally, this 41-year-old man is stuck at 16. We are dealing with things that you shouldn't be dealing with at 41. Mentally, he's 16. And I didn't realize that all of this was going on until after we got married and all of this, that, and the third. But I'm using that as the example that when you see people acting out and you see things going on, more than likely something happened and they are mentally trapped at whatever number or whatever age they were when that traumatic thing happened. So it's not that we're dealing with, to me, I like to say, we're not dealing with men. We're dealing with little boys in men bodies, and they don't know what to do with those men bodies. We looking at them like, you is grown and why are you not able to understand this? You're looking at these men and you're like, be my protector, be my husband, be the father, be this, that, and the third.
He ain't built for it though.
He ain't built for it. And in his mind, he like, I just want to go home, play my game, and eat some Cheerios. Why are you asking me to do all of these things and have all of this responsibility when I don't know nothing about that? So we as a community, you don't see that in a lot of the other communities of other shades, races, and hues. But we as a people, as a community, whatever you want to call it, we need to come together and clean up home first. Before we can get out there and do anything else, we need to come clean up home first. My mom always said, clean up home first before you try to go outside and straighten up anything. Now, that's one thing, but the other thing that I don't agree with, the thing where they always say, what happened at home, stay at home. Now, we need to open some of these doors. We need to tell somebody something needs to happen because just like everybody always say, I got an uncle too that Uncle Terry was molesting all the nieces and nephews, and nobody ever said nothing.
Wow.
Uncle Terry died of in a diabetic coma by himself, but Uncle Terry was still at grandma's house in the back room, and nobody went up there to the back room. But we all knew that Uncle Terry was creepy as shit. But we need to stop that. We need to get, if it's Uncle Terry or if it's Uncle Joe, whoever it is, we need to get those people out of the household. It don't need to be they it just needs to, get them out of the household. If they molested kids, send them to jail. I think that's another thing that we as a community have, where when this family member do something to the other family member, not even just molestation,
they don't want to put them in jail because you know what? On my mom's side, that's technically, I guess that's my great uncle. Anyway, that MF is a pervert, but But back in them days, they just sent him away. Now, mind you, he from Illinois. Guess where they sent this fool? Just guess.
Indiana.
Alaska.
Listen, you now check this out.
And he been there ever since. He been there since the late 80s. Ever since.
Check this out. I am an AME, African Methodist Episcopal Church, right?
Okay.
Okay. So my church has sister churches. So my church is STP. STP's sister church is STPRS. That's what we're gonna call it.
Okay.
The pastor at my church's sister church, y'all, everybody's saying it. He was molesting 2 young men at the church, and we found out through the back gate that he had the cooties that live in Virginia. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
He had the cooties that live in Virginia. And then all of a sudden, he dropped out his weight. He stopped being so vocal in the church as he used to be. And then when the stuff came out that he was doing what he was doing, they picked him up and sent him to California. Nobody said nothing when it was in St. Louis. It was local to St. Louis. But so funny that when he got to California and he tried to pick them same little characteristics up, the people in California was like, no, sir, this one is doing something, and he got put out of the church.
Wait a minute, what part of St. Louis was he in?
Storm, North St. Louis.
North City or North County?
North City. Ooh. Down on Shreve and Margaretta.
Oh, no. Okay.
You familiar with my area. You know where I'm at.
Oh, wow.
Because if I say his name, you're going to know who I'm talking about.
I'm probably going to know who you're talking about. Okay. Say his name. Dang.
Laudermill.
Oh, shit. Ooh. I do know some Laudermill. Ooh. Wow. And they sent him to California?
Sent him to California. And remember how, what's his name? What's the man that was the reverend of New Birth before Jamal got
it? Eddie Long?
You know how Eddie Long was healthy looking, then all of a sudden he got skinny, then he got sick, then it was supposed to be the C word magically, but we all thought it was the cooties that come from Virginia.
I'm sorry. It's the way you said it. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. That's the same way that Rev Laudermill went out.
And it's like, don't nobody want to say it, but it's like, I got eyes, so we just gonna act like we don't. Okay, we gonna act like we don't see it. Okay.
Listen. It's my people. It's Black people, African American people, whatever name you want to go by. It's us. We need to have a community town hall, us meeting. We don't need to put it on social media. We don't need to put it on the TV. We don't need to do nothing. We need to have a revolution beyond us. And that's it. It just fix, get some things in order and fix our people. Because until we fix us, ain't nothing good. I don't want to say ain't nothing good gonna happen because we got the first Black president, but we need to still fix us because like it's just like I said, my husband is 41. We gotta argue from the top of Mount Everest to come all the way back down for him to say, "Oh, I was mad because the cat ate my hot dog." What in the Storm? When I tell you, these are the things. I swear to you, this is the stuff that I'm talking about when I say that these people are not mentally growing up when something traumatic happens. If I told you the manner of stuff that I deal with, you would be shocked. But in the same breath, he got a twin sister. Twin sister is in a nutshell and will not come out of this nutshell for nothing. She 41, just like him. Won't come out of the nutshell. Won't do the minimal things. And then when you be like, well, you don't want to do X, Y, and Z. No, they live. You know St. Louis. You know Jennings?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, think about how big Jennings is. Go over the Riverview. That's one end. Go
Right.
over the Florissant.
Right.
Right a little bit beyond where Michael Brown was taken.
Yeah. He got killed off West Force in the first.
Right.
Okay.
Go over the 367. And then go over the Natural Bridge. The square I just built you, they will not leave. They do not like to go beyond that square.
I'm done. I'm done. Man, you ain't doing nothing but getting on the highway, maybe a couple stops, going up the street. Mind you now, you know all the clubs up that way too. So they gonna go to the clubs, but you ain't gonna.
They don't go to the clubs.
Oh, they don't go to the clubs?
No.
They ain't up in Knicks or nothing like that?
No.
So she's just afraid of the world.
Yeah. Anything outside her bedroom window? No.
Wow.
And all of this is because they lost their mama, their grandma, the mother, the grandmother, their dad left, and then also I forgot the grandfather passed away somewhere in that time frame as well. So once everybody got done dying, if they were 18 when that cycle stopped, that's where they're mentally stuck. They know enough. They know how to talk on the phone. They know how to get smart. They know everything that you think an 18-year-old should know. They're there. But the things from 18 to 41,
wow,
is beyond them. And then what makes it so bad, everybody out here on the outside of the bubble that they live in, we're all wrong because they're right in their bubble. It is beyond me.
I'ma just say you got the patience of a saint because I don't know if I could do it.
No, Storm. Let me tell you, I got what every woman in the back of her mind would want. I love my husband, but we're married. He live over there with his daddy. I got my own place. I only see this man when I want to see him.
Oh my God.
If I don't want it to happen, nip it in the bud. I ain't got to hear from him if I don't want to.
Because I showed her, told you gonna stay. You know what? You acting like that. Go stay over there. I ain't even finna hear all that. No, you talking about? I ain't finna hear that. No.
Listen, we just got in a full-fledged cat dog world star argument because his bed at his daddy house broke. I said, well, let's go price, get you a new bed. World star would have been on the scene because we argue because he doesn't want to go out of his square of Jennings to go price a new bed.
You know what you should have told him? You were like, you don't carry your ass up the floors and go to Big Lots and get them up.
You know what I told him? I said, that's fine. You don't have to go price the bed. If you are fine sleeping on the floor, you sleeping on the floor at your daddy's house. I got a nice big king size bed in my apartment, in my house, and it's all by myself. If you want to sleep on the floor is fine for you. It ain't for me.
Oh my God.
You
know what though? I'm gonna say this though. I think the best thing for y'all is to live separately. Honey,
it ain't gonna change. It ain't gonna change. All my friends know it ain't gonna change.
It ain't gonna change. Cause I ain't gonna lie. My on my dad's side, my grandmother and grandfather did that. She got a project apartment with the kids, so they gave her a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. He went and got a 1-bedroom project apartment. Do you know where Centerville, Illinois is?
I sure do.
Okay. Oh, you know Private Matheson Apart. I don't know what it's called now. They might call it Centerville Courts now.
Centerville Courts.
Okay. Yeah, she had her thing, he had his little 1-bedroom, and they live like that. Cause sometimes it's like, you know what, I'm gonna kill you if we in the same house. It's just
You know what, at this point, it was something that you said, and it was something that some other people said. It's all about protecting my peace. I'm not now that I understand, and somebody in the chat asked, do I get a check? No, I don't get a check for him nor his sister, but I have offered to take them to get mentally evaluated.
put that nigga on SSI.
I have offered to take him and his sister to be mentally evaluated, but because they think that they're right in their mind, they think ain't nothing wrong with them. They think that the way that they think is 100%.
They
And
always think like
it
that.
don't work for me.
Cause I'd have told them, look, I'm finna take you to this caseworker, you gonna bark, and we gonna
She said, does he give me money? No, I don't ask him for money. I don't want no money from him. I don't eat pork rinds. But no.
Oh my God. But I'm gonna say thank you for coming on, Mrs. Me and you can talk all night.
Like I said, we need to fix us first.
We do.
We need to fix us first and deal with the traumas when they happen, so that this baby 13 and he evidently is the size of a junior football player now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We need to get with it before it gets to this point, because now Royce is in danger herself, because if she make him mad, he bigger than her now. She ain't nothing but a stick. He can shake her up. And then what we gonna see? True crime. Royce Reed accidentally murdered by her 14-year-old son because she took his video game and he shook the shit out of her.
Point blank. Not only that, and I'm gonna say this before I let you go. Not only that, if he ever gets angry and horny and decides to rape her, he can do it.
Absolutely. You listen to true crime just like I do. And I see true crime. I've seen that 2 or 3 times. The young man messed up, had a mental break, killed his mama, had sex with her while she was dead. And when they came, he called the police. And when they came, he was sitting on the porch rocking back and forth crying, asking them to go help his mama, and she was dead. So we need to get a wrangle, get a head on all of this stuff before they get to the point that they get to my 41-year-old son and husband-in-law.
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. C.
I'm hanging up. I love you. I love your show.
Thank you.
Please know I'll be watching.
I appreciate that. Do I need to do me a little meet and greet in St. Louis?
Hell yeah! Because if you do a meet and greet in St. Louis, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm cooking. What you want? You want?
I ain't even gonna front. I'm gonna need some. I'm gonna need some good Chinamen. I ain't even gonna front.
Let me know. You just gotta let me know when you coming. I'm gonna order your stuff. Got your peach vest, the pina colada.
Because at this point, I'm like, I ain't even trying to go to these restaurants like that. I'm just finna find me a storm chaser with a backyard. And we're gonna have us a good old fish fry at this point.
Listen. I got 2 or 3 yards we can choose from. You ain't gotta do nothing but say the word. Hit me on Instagram. I'll be there in August.
All right now. Take it easy now. Take it easy now. Bye-bye. Oh my God. Listen. Y'all don't even know. What's going on? Just Nia? Is it Nia Love or Nia Love?
Nia Love. Hi, how are you, Storm?
How are you? That's a very pretty name.
Thank you.
What's on your mind tonight?
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about the situation. For me, I'm not a mother, but I was a child that was touched by another child as a kid. Okay. So I could see it from a different perspective. For me, and I didn't even grow up in America. I actually grew up in Haiti. I'm Dominican and Haitian. I grew up in Haiti at the time because my family was kind of wealthy. My mom was a musician. My dad was a musician. They weren't together. And my dad was out of the home. I stayed with my grandparents. And my grandfather was actually pretty busy all the time. He was like a businessman, so he was always away. My grandmother also had her own businesses, so she was always away. So I was always in the house with either a nanny, and like, you know, people that work for us. So we always had like their children around, and we specifically had like a teenage boy that was around at the time. And yeah, I ended up getting touched by that person and his father, which was like a weird
his father?
Yeah, which was really strange. And actually, one of the situations, my grandfather almost caught it because he took me all the way up to like this construction area upstairs that they were doing in the house. And my grandfather actually walked up like right before he did something, and he was questioning it. But you know how like someone would tell you like if you sell something, like you're the one that's going to get in trouble or whatever. So that was my fear. That's why I didn't say anything at the time. But you know, I think that I feel like it really is something that is passed down. Like it's not something that's just like, maybe some people, they are just naturally like that, but I felt like that's something that, you know, the father was already like that. Maybe he did something to him, and then now he's just like, you know, and he did it to somebody else. It was really but to me, I feel like it's something that as a girl, it kind of, you know what I mean? It puts you in a different mindset, kind of how you look at people in general. And for me, I just kind of always felt like, okay, well, protection is not something that I look for in Black men. I look it in myself first, and then like, you know what I mean, like my family. But I don't really look for it in like a.
I hear you, but that's so unfortunate.
Yeah, of course it is, because you know I probably do have really great, or probably will meet really great people that, you know, are probably like not like that and very protective. But it makes you kind of look at people like, okay, maybe no, because these are people that, you know, you grew up with and they were always so sweet and so nice to you, and then they turn around and they do something like that to you, so you don't know anymore. You know what I mean? Like the trust is very it's just taken back very, I don't know, it's a lot. I had to smoke before this, so yeah.
I get it, because we're talking about some heavy stuff. So let me ask you this: if you had to give advice to someone who has a child who's been touched, like maybe one or two pieces of advice, what should they do?
Honestly, find the happiness in yourself first, because that's the first step. A lot of us, I feel like you end up looking for safety in other people because you don't feel like your parents could give it to you because they didn't do it when you were young or when it was happening. So you don't go to your parents. You don't usually go to your family. You end up going outside of that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it ends up tearing you apart, and then you realize it when it's too late. That, oh, I could have really tried to go this different route and try to find something that actually made me happy and not stay in the suffering and the mental break, because that mental always staying in that fear really closes a lot of doors for you. You know what I mean? So for me, honestly, it was really finding things that made me happy. And like, eventually I was able to get comfortable in my own self and trying different things. Like I tried dating men and things like that, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't like I hate men because of what happened to me. It's more like oh yeah, we cool, but nah, it ain't it. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to figure out what it is that I like and what it is that I don't like. And now I'm in a spot where I can do certain things. You would think that because I went through certain stuff, I would not be someone that just ups and leaves. Like, I'll pack my bags and move to another state real quick for a good job. You know what I mean? Like, because my mind is, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm a Taurus too. So for me, it's like, I'm moving. I don't think like, okay, I gotta sit in my room and just cower because of what happened. Like, you have to really just find something that makes you happy within yourself. And then eventually those things, like, you work on it. And therapy is number one for sure. And I know that in our community, it's very hard. A lot of us don't like to go to therapy. You don't like telling people your business, but you tell your best friend, you tell a random shorty that you just met your business. You don't realize it, but you do. You do. And let's be real about it. We tell random people some deep shit that happened to us one day.
Yes,
Just
we
because,
do.
you know what I'm saying? Like, out of nowhere. Like, you just be like, damn, I just told short, like, everything. And so just take that and put it into someone that actually wants to help you and wants to put some work and forward into that. Those two things, like finding your own happiness in something that you love, even if it's something stupid. Like, I stream games, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that I do apart from working, just to kind of get my laughter and that joy in me. You know what I'm saying? Because you just find other people that's into the shit that you're into. So, and then having therapy with having somebody that you can go to and cry, let it all out, put it all into paper, really sit back and watch it and look at it in black and white, because they get to reflect everything back at you. Like, okay, well, this is what you said. Let's talk about it.
Let's
You know
talk
what
about
I mean?
talk through it. Yeah.
Yeah. So those two things I feel like are exactly what you would need to starter kit it. You know what I mean? To go move forward with yourself. And the earlier you do it, the easier it is. Because I'm 27 now, and I didn't start till maybe like 24 when I started really like going deep into my mind process and seeing things for what it were. You know what I mean? So
it's about to, like, you know, stress relief is a good thing. Like, for me, I like to look at houses on Zillow. Like, I don't know if other people do that too, but
yeah,
I'll just like it's stress relief. You know, you listen, you stream, we all have our things. So
yeah,
I guess, you know what, once we remove the shame, people will want to,
exactly.
yeah, they'll open up more. We just got to remove
Right.
it.
I think because a lot of times people, like, they don't want to admit something happened to them, or, you know what I mean? So they'll just sit there and be quiet about it. But a lot of times I feel like if you just was like, you know what? Yeah, this happened to me too. And we're just more open about it, like how me and my best friend are about certain stuff. I feel like a lot more people would just be like, damn, like, I am not the only person that went through that. Or maybe I went through this, but damn, like, she went through something even crazier. So maybe, like, we can work on something because she could still do what she's doing. So maybe I could do something with, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just gotta, people don't tell their story. Like, they'll tell their story, but they won't go too deep. But I feel like if people actually went all the way and told exactly like what it was, a lot more people would be more like, you know, because even with artists that we love, they wait till they're like 70, 60 to tell us the deep. And we're just like, she went through all that and still did that?
Yeah.
And then we sitting there like, damn, like, I wish I knew that before. Because I would have tried something, you know what I mean? And we watch our parents be like, damn, I wish I knew that. I would have tried something different too. Like, you know what I mean? So sometimes it just takes that.
I hear you. I want to say, Nia, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you
I'm
so
gonna finish
much.
up with these callers here. You have a good one, all right?
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah, she's right about that. You definitely got to have good stress relief. Somebody was in the private chat tripping. I had to block them. None of that. No negativity. All right, we got 3 more. Aaliyah TV? Aliyah?
Hey, Storm.
How you doing?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So I just had a couple points I want to talk about. So a lot of people, well, not a lot, but most people were saying how old Royce's son is playing a role into if he can be like rehabilitated and stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. And okay, so my thing is like, since he can't be rehabilitated, we have to think about the childhoods that we're preparing for our kids, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Because what I've noticed from everyone calling in, like the lady from St. Louis, I think she was from, like, I decided to call in after hearing her and how she was talking about the guy's childhood trauma. So what I've noticed from basically everyone, and even Cynthia's content, and thank you for introducing her to your channel. I really enjoy her content. A lot of what happened in people's childhood, like especially men, and I'm not sure about the women. I don't know if women, they process things differently, go get the help, and then they move on from it. But the men seem to be like really stuck, like.
Oh, because we don't deal with our emotions.
Yeah.
We don't at all. So you just don't deal with it, but you stay stuck, but you're getting older, but you're still, it's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah. So, not dealing with those childhood traumas and now moving into adults, like that's not, and then same people are deciding to procreate and have more and have kids, and then they're not even mentally prepared to take care of those kids emotionally, and even maybe something that they're dealing with mentally, they're not able to go out and physically work and provide a stable income. So, and that's what I feel like, in order to try to curb some of the things that's happening, like people getting, like children doing things like this, or they're growing up to be adults and like committing these heinous acts and things like that. We have to start in the home. Like, before you decide to create a family, we should think about, okay, how am I mentally? Am I okay? Can I provide a nice, secure, stable home for this kid? Like, even if it's not a 2-parent household, do I have the means to make sure they'll always be fed, always be clothed, always have everything, not feel the struggles and stress of the world? Because kids do feel stress and they take on stress. So we really have to do that. And also, just really vetting the person that you're having a kid with. Like, what kind of family did they come from? How did they grow up? How do they interact with their family? Like, I don't know how people can just meet someone and just have their kid after like a week or two or a month. Like, you haven't met their family, you really don't know much about them. And I'm pro-choice. I really don't care what anyone does. But it's just really hard when you say, oh no, don't abort the baby, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's adoption, but there's so many kids in the...
Have you seen how the adoption industry, man?
Exactly. And then there's people here who don't even adopt the kids here in America. They go overseas.
Yep.
So kind of like, so I don't know. I feel like people should really take a step back and really think about it. Like, and also there was another caller who called in who said, having a kid is not like, I don't know, she compared it to growing an arm or something, but that's a whole other human.
Yes.
You just can't be like, oh, I want a kid, I'm gonna have a kid, and just, oh yeah, I got a kid, and you're not really there for them. You're not paying attention. You're not noticing different signs when things switch up with them. So, and I don't know, I feel like my family life it's pretty stable. I feel so blessed to not have to go through any of the stuff like Royce's child and her stepkids and all that happening, or just in general. But I do have a little brother, he's 8, and hearing that story, it freaked me out. And my mom, she talks to him, she like tells him what, don't let anyone touch you here, don't do this, don't do that. And so, and I told her about this because, she's older, she don't keep up with this stuff. And I told her what happened. And even growing up, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. So I moved here like when I was 10 or so.
Okay.
we were never allowed to sleep over at anyone's house. We barely was able to go to anybody's house. Like Caribbean parents, they really don't play that. Like the only houses you can go to is like your cousin. That's really it. Your grandparents, that's it. But the friend stuff, like even sleepovers, like I really don't know. I don't think I've ever been to a sleepover ever. So, you know, it's those kinds of things there where like maybe that protected me from not having to experience something like that. But
yeah, because they didn't play that.
yeah, and then also in the home, I mean, my family, I don't think we have anybody like that in our family who's like, you know, touch other family members. I mean, if we have, is that's the most tight-lipped thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like we usually hear about everybody's business, like no matter how big or small it is. But
Listen.
yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. And yeah, honestly, I really appreciate Cynthia G. She really like makes me tap in and think deeper about things. And you know, I'll be interested to see if she covers this topic.
I'm sure she will, and she's going to go in. I'm just already preparing myself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dying to know what she says, but yeah, I really think it's a sad situation overall, and I don't know. I really hope he can get it together for sure. And Royce, I wish she would have kept a better eye on him. Like,
Me too. And I mean, she meant what she just messed up. She messed up majorly.
yeah.
She did. And I'm gonna say this too. You have the smoothest skin I have seen in a long time. I had to say it.
Thank you, Storm. Yes, I'm also wearing makeup. Oh well, on a lighter note, a couple months ago, you mentioned how you took acting classes and stuff. You started getting in, and I've always wanted to do that since like in middle school. So I was like, oh, Storm's doing acting classes. Oh, Storm got some money. You taking acting classes? I'm like, yeah, I got some money too. I should take my acting classes now. So I started taking. Yeah, I did. I started taking acting classes in November. I've taken like 7 by now. And I recently started applying to agencies. And actually, I had my first audition today. So it's for a student film. And I also have some self tapes to do. But so I just need experience to get an agent out here. So, but yeah, thank you, Storm. Yeah, that's the lightheartedness of my speech.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, the best advice I can give you is do as many independent films as you can. And then make a good like reel or whatever. I think they call it a reel. And then that's really going to help you. But are you in LA, New York?
No, I'm in Dallas. A nice scene out here.
You in Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you gonna come out to LA eventually, or you gonna end up coming out to Atlanta to shoot something? Because it's just how it is. They go back and forth. But best of luck to you for real.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Storm. Bye.
Take it easy, y'all. Bye-bye. I'm gonna end it there for the night. Yeah, I am tired. Everybody that's on, I'm gonna catch y'all tomorrow. Brother, tired. I'm sorry. I'm tired. But listen, she had the prettiest smile I have seen. Like, wait a minute. And Dallas, I got people in Dallas. But listen, she had the prettiest smile. And that press, was that a press? The press was on point. Anyway. But seriously though, I wanted to bring this topic to you guys because it was very serious. But I'm interested in seeing if Dwight will address this or if Royce will address this. I'm interested in seeing that. She was pretty. Yeah, she was very pretty. Very pretty. And then she said she's from Trinidad. It's like, of course. Every time I be like, where you from? Oh, I'm from Trinidad. Of course. I know you are. Let's see. Oh, damn, we gotta talk about that too. We definitely gotta talk about that too. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm finna hit the bed. I will catch you guys.